We're in conversation with Werner Eichhorn, board member for sales and marketing of Skoda Auto. Mr. Eichhorn, thank you for joining us. We are here on the eve of the launch of the Skoda Superb in India. Obviously, this is your flagship. Still a very small segment of the market, but a very significant segment, I think. So what is your outlook of the Superb for India?
The Superb, to be honest, plays a very important role for Skoda worldwide, because with that car we have said we enter into a new era in terms of brand development and attracting new customers, and of course in terms of product, because with the new Superb we introduce our new design language. Yeah, it's more dynamic, it's more sporty, it's more expressive, and on top of this, in terms of the product items, you know from Skoda functionality and roominess, but we added a lot more. So now we have latest technology in terms of engines, safety, comfort and assistance systems. So the whole environment of the new Superb is brand new for us, and therefore that car is so key. And we are quite happy because we had the chance to already introduce the car in Europe beginning of last year. So since then we have got fantastic feedback about the car, and therefore now we are really keen on to get that car to India, because it totally fits perfectly into the positioning we have, and we'd like to move away on that way to underline value luxury here in the Indian market, and that car really is another milestone to develop it in a further way here in India.
But clearly in India the volumes are going to be quite small, so overall I don't think it's going to add to the volume base significantly to Skoda in India. So do you think, are you concerned really about the overall volumes over here, because all the segments you are in, the volumes are not very high?
Yeah, the segmentation in India is not 100% in our favor, because we start with a Rapid and 85% are below the Rapid, where we have our starting and entry point. But where we are in, we are very successful, because our segment share, for instance, with the Rapid is close to 15%. With the Octavia, also a small sector, but there we have a segment share of 50%, and we are aiming at least for the same with the new Superb. You're right, it's quite a small volume, but where we are very successful, and there we are really driving the business.
I want to come to the SUV segment, because I think in Geneva you're going to be showcasing for the first time a concept which will point to the future SUVs you are bringing, and it's a large SUV. So is this going to be the new flagship? Are you going to be having let's say a premium SUV as well sitting alongside the Superb, and just some thoughts on your SUV strategy?
We thought about what could be the next possible step for Skoda, which additional product really fits into our product lineup. And we have a huge competence, for instance, in combis in Europe. So we are the #1 combi selling company in Europe. We have a huge competence in 4x4, and we had our first experience with the Yeti. So on seeing the growing segments in the world, we came up and said we'd like to enter again in the SUV sector. And therefore the idea is and was that we bring one additional SUV in short term, and that is the so-called A+ SUV. In Geneva we will show a vision of it, a show car, but then later the year, of course, we will have then the world premiere of the additional SUV, which could be a 7-seater, and additional cars for the perfect family SUV we are talking about.
And obviously that SUV being a 7-seater and an SUV, India is a really prime market for that as well. So do you think that could be, let's say, one of your products which at the premium end could even give you pretty good volumes in India? I mean, are you hopeful of a product like that for the Indian market?
So the first big step is today with the launch of the Superb, to underline our positioning, and the next possible step is of course to add the next big product, and that could be the A+ SUV. It's not decided yet, but it's quite obvious that there is a volume opportunity in the Indian market.
Right, and just coming back to the Superb, now the Superb has been in this market for quite a while, and obviously you've had a certain positioning of it. The new Superb compared to the older Superb, I mean, it has grown and better in every respect. But are you targeting the same customer, or do you feel you can even pull now from some of the other German brands in a more, let's say, aggressive way?
The good thing with the new Superb is we stick to what we have done, because roominess, functionality and value for money, it's in there. And now we have great design and latest technique. So in my view, we have both opportunities now, that the existing customers will come back again, so we create loyalty, and on the other hand, the new design and the overall package of the new Superb definitely attracts customers who have never thought about the Skoda before. So in our view, we can grow the business from two directions.
And coming back to the Indian market, you've been here now for nearly 16 years, and numbers haven't been that great. In fact, you've lost volumes. You were at your peak a couple of years back, 38,000 units, now less than even 20,000 units. So is this a concern for you, because a brand being in India for so long, your volumes have actually gone down, and what's the way forward?
Due to the environment we have seen over the last years, we had to consolidate our business. We did so, and we have used the last, especially 1.5 years, to build more quality in terms of brand establishment of the brand, and on the other hand in terms of network and especially customer satisfaction. And even then we could grow our business already in 2015. So, and we'd like to move on, of course, to grow on a pretty low level our business further. So for this year we have in mind to grow our business by almost 10%. We just talked about the opportunity to add the SUVs. And in medium term, because the development of India is quite nice, so the market is growing. We see that some European standards in terms of CO2 emissions and in terms of safety might come through. So that gives us hopefully the opportunity to medium and long term think about whether there's an opportunity again to have more products even below the Rapid, but even right and real Skodas which totally fit to our brand positioning we have right now.
So what you're saying is in the medium term with the regulation change, you think the playing field will be more level and you'll be able to be more competitive because you already have the technology, you don't have to invest in it. So is that something you're hoping for, that something like Euro 6 norms and safety norms, you would welcome that coming to India as fast as possible?
We would welcome that because we are able and capable to deliver it on a very high level in Europe. So to transfer them to India, of course, then we have a huge advantage. So, and we are prepared to do so. And if the market grows in the way we have seen over the last 12 months, and if the inflation stays there, then again, so there might be an opportunity to have a viable business case to come into a sector where we have been in, because the Indian customers, they love the Fabia, for instance. So why not to come back? But again, so it's not decided yet. It could be a medium or long-term plan to come back in the bigger volume and then also create a higher market share for Skoda in India.
To sum up, what you're trying to say is that the tougher regulations would actually be an advantage for global players like yourself.
Yeah, we see it in that way because we are able to handle it in a proper way right now. So, and we are also capable then to transfer everything to India.
So what you're saying in the short term is that we are going to see no real volume product, nothing below the Rapid, because clearly the new Fabia, it's now already into its life cycle, the 260. There is no plan for another hatchback. So is this going to be consolidation from Skoda side for the next couple of years and no real new segments you're entering in the mass segment, that is?
For the time being, it seems so. But again, so we are for 15 years here. We see what is the customer demand, and we frequently analyzing what is the right timing to invest and of course get a payback somewhere. So we are looking into this, but on the other hand, so far we are going for the value luxury segment with our sedans, and of course we are thinking about adding some SUVs to the Indian markets.
Well, I just want to focus on the whole issue of volume and scale. Do you think you'd be looking at exports for some of your products because that might give you a little bit more scale in the Indian market and make you more cost efficient as well?
In our view, the minute we are feasible in the small sectors with a viable business case, that also could give us the opportunity to export from India. But that is a prerequisite we need immediately if we make that kind of investment, and then we can see whether there's a chance around India, in some other emerging markets, of course, to make exports from India. But as I said, step by step, first is the investment here, and secondly is the option maybe to export from India.
There's a sub 4 meter sedan which has been showcased by Volkswagen, the Ameo. Clearly there are shared mechanicals which are used with your products. So it's very logical that you could also have your own sub 4 meter sedan. Are you planning to do that, or do you feel that the investment may be too high for the volumes which you get?
We are not part of it, and today we are really proud that we have the opportunity to bring the new Superb to the Indian market and really to underline the positioning and to work in that sector.
So what you're saying is you will not be bringing the sub 4 meter sedan, and you're looking at a more premium play in the market.
That's it.
Right. And again, looking at the Indian market, do you think in time you could look at doing a little bit more development work of some of your existing models here, just to keep them refreshed, because the cost of doing it in Europe may be too high? The Rapid, it's still got a lot of life in it. So let's say future facelifts, small enhancements. Do you think it's feasible that India could be a place for you to do this?
We have already started with it, because of course we have to look for efficiencies, and there is a huge knowledge in the Indian market, and we have utilized this already. So for the products to come and the development to come, of course the Indian engineers are part of it. Yeah? So the minute they can compete, we are really keen on to have local expertise here in the Indian market.
And that would be to actually do facelifts and develop products locally?
We have started to work with facelifts, and somewhen there might be also the time to talk about more, but for the time being we talked about getting support in terms of facelifts and product developments.
In India?
In India.
Right. And just winding down, looking at Skoda's positioning in India, vis-a-vis, let's say you've been here for 16 years, Volkswagen has come a lot after you. But again, in terms of volumes, in terms of position, Volkswagen seems to be gone ahead of Skoda. Is this a kind of conscious way the hierarchy works in the Volkswagen group, that Volkswagen is the dominant brand and Skoda, you can call it value luxury, but is really not as, let's say, big anymore as Volkswagen is?
We have a clear positioning. So we talk about value luxury, and if you talk about Skoda, we are famous now for our brand slogan, Simply Clever. We are standing for roominess, functionality and value for money. As I said, from now on we talk about very expressive design, starting with the Superb, and that is the positioning we are in. And that's what we call here in India the value luxury segment, and we are in that, and we are working on it to really underline that we are a major player in that sector.
You keep touching upon the design aspect of the Superb and how that's important. Are we going to be seeing a certain edginess of the Skoda design now, the new design language in all your models? Obviously there will be the SUV, but will we be seeing that in the next generation Yeti and other models to follow as well?
Of course, we will be more self-confident. We develop our own immediately visible design language, which is really more dynamic, more powerful and more expressive. And I really believe that our customers will love the new approach for the additional SUV later this year.
And looking at a more ground level over here, clearly you've got limited volumes. It's been sometimes difficult for some of your dealers to be very viable with smaller volumes. They were used to much larger volumes, and now they have to deal with much smaller scale. Their overheads are the same. Obviously a challenge for the dealerships. How are you supporting them, and what's really the way forward in terms of a dealer network?
We found a very good way, because we are partners for many, many years. 40–50% of them are partners for 15 years. And in the time when we have started to consolidate the business, also we did it in agreement with our network. And whatever we have done and aligned for the future is accepted by them, and we are viable for them. So in the meantime, we are a good business case. They're committed to the brand, and they are committed to deliver 100% customer satisfaction. So both together, with the network and us, we go the way in the direction of value luxury, and we look into a bright future here in India.
So just last question, you're looking long term at India. Can one say that the real big growth from Skoda would happen in the medium term, and for the next 3 years you're going to be operating with just incremental increases in volume?
We'd like to go for quality, establish an even stronger brand, focus on customer satisfaction, and the minute we see that there is a potential, I can promise you, with the knowledge we have and the potential we see on the market, we pop in, and then we can aim for bigger volumes.
So initially it's not a volume game, you just want to consolidate, and you're waiting for the right moment to, let's say, maybe bring in the products, because I think the issue is the products. You don't really have the volume products right now.
That is the case.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.